Hey, let me show you how to make this crazy good blueberry cobbler. The ingredients are so simple. It is just too easy to make. Let me just show you. I like to cut this up first because it's like my least favorite part of making this really easy blueberry cobbler. And that's to just kind of cut the butter up into chunks. So we're going to use a whole stick of butter. And this is going to be for our crumble or cobbler topping. The butter is cold. It's not frozen, but it's cold. Cold enough so that we can blend it semi-easily in with the flour and the sugar and with the other dry ingredients. So this is the first thing I like to do, is to just cut the butter into cubes. Let's see. We can move that back out of the way. And we're going to do about 3 cups of these large, beautiful blueberries. And the only difference, as I was saying, the only difference with the frozen versus the fresh blueberries is that you're going to get more juice. It's going to be juicier at the bottom. Okay. And then the last thing I like to add to this is a little bit of sugar. So y'all, I am home recovering from foot surgery as I am making this blueberry cobbler. I had such a craving for it. And then maybe a little sprinkle of cinnamon, or I'll just put the cinnamon in the actual crust. But today I'm going to do both. It's warm outside. I mean, it's cool. It's cool outside, so I want to use these warming, cozy spices. Right? Okay. So just a little sprinkle of that. Then I'm going to blend it around again. And remember, it looks dry now. But the juice from these frozen berries, once they are heated, once the berries are heated and it melts in with that sugar, you're going to get a really nice liquid, a really syrupy kind of liquid with it. So remember, we cut our butter up into chunks just a while ago. The other thing that we're going to add to this is really, really simple. We're going to add 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, is that, oh shoot, that's half a cup. We're adding 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, and some cinnamon and baking powder to this, and a little salt. You want to kind of cut that butter into, the flour and sugar. You know, I'm probably going to dig and get in here with my hands in a second because it's just the best way to do it. But I'll cut the butter into a little bit smaller chunks first. Then I'm going to add in probably about a half teaspoon of kosher salt. If I was using salted butter, I wouldn't need the kosher salt. I wouldn't need the kosher salt if I was using salted butter. But because I didn't use salted butter, I need to add some salt to this. And the thing with desserts is you really need salt in desserts because it brings out the flavor. And that is a whole teaspoon. No, that's a half tablespoon. I don't want that much in here. You really need salt in desserts. People think that you don't need them. You would think that it's going to make it savory tasting, but it's not. It just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. It just kind of amplifies the flavor of everything that you're putting in it. So that was a little baking powder, a little salt, and then I want to go in with some cinnamon And I'm going to do the equivalent amount of cinnamon. And then I'm going to get in here with my hands because I want this to be like a crumbly texture. I want the butter and the sugar and everything to just come together. And I'm going to take these bracelets off. So you see how this is like nicely crumbly. It's really crumbly together. Kind of like sand, like wet sand almost. This is what we're after. We have last ingredient we're going to put in this is chopped pecans. These are optional. If you have a nut allergy, obviously leave them out. But if you are just unsure of whether or not you're going to love them in this, please put them in. They make such an incredible difference. They add a layer of crunch and toastiness that you can't get any other way. It doesn't hurt either that pecans are my absolute favorite nut. I'm going to get my hands cleaned up before I move forward. All right. Now we're going to chop up just a few pecans. We don't have to include, but so many. I cook with pecans so much. It's my favorite. It's my favorite nut. My father, as I've shared before, is from Alabama, and whenever he goes home, he brings goodies back with him, like pecans, and I always am able to do something with them. It's usually around Christmas time that he comes back with an abundance of pecans, or, you know, oh my goodness, this country sausage. I really need to do a video on that country sausage and just how good it is. But yeah, you want to cut these into kind of fairly small pieces, and then from here, this is probably, I had a cup of pecans in here. This is probably, I would say about a half a cup chopped pecans. All right. Move you out the way. Bring you here. And then what we're doing is just incorporating all of those pecans that we just added to our, all of those pecans we just added to our topping, our crumble topping. Ignore that dryer going off. There we go. And then I'm just going to add this topping over top, and then we're ready to put it into our preheated 350 degree preheated oven. Alright, I'm not going to use all of that. You can freeze that and save it for next time, or, you know, do some miniature peach cobblers or something. I'm going to dollop this with a little bit more butter on the top because I want it to get brown and crispy and yummy. So we're just adding a few dollops of butter on the top of that, probably about a tablespoon and a half, right? And you can cut these pieces up finer if you're into it, but okay, 2 tablespoons. This is good for me. And now we're going to pop this into our 350 degree preheated oven for somewhere around 35 minutes. You're really going to know, it's going to tell you when it's ready, when that topping looks like it is just browned and ready to dive into. I'll show you. I need to wipe the edges of the blueberry sauce off the edges of my pan, because what I've been learning from my Ghanaian and Nigerian sisters is that when you clean that stuff off as you go, it doesn't ruin your pans. So I'm going to try and wipe that off before I pop it in the oven. Y'all, I don't know what I did with this blueberry cobbler. I made the recipe up because I wanted it, and I have to tell you, it was the best blueberry cobbler I've ever tasted in my life. And you can do this with peaches, you can do it with mixed berries, blackberries, plums. Whatever you do, just do it. You will not be disappointed with this recipe, I promise you.
Oh my.
If you haven't already, go check out my mini peach cobbler video. There'll be a link to it at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. I will be praying for you, and I will see you soon.